training, some updates. I know that there was a very long meeting today with management and manufacturing. Management and manufacturing. Now, one of the things, and I may have spelled manufacturing wrong there, forgive me if I did. One of the things that the company wants to do is they don't want to start to ask people to make a purchase until they are very close. Manufacturing is very close to being able to deliver product. The reason being is that when we make purchases, obviously we're going to want to give samples away, whether it's the physical samples of the skincare, weight loss, energy, vitality products, or whether it's the Jubi bucks that we load on Jubi cards, so that people can also come in and shop. All right. So we want to make sure that, if you made a purchase today, we don't want it to be a situation where it's going to be 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, before manufacturing is ready to make a purchase. I'm sorry, is ready to ship out. So that's one of the reasons why we're still in pre-registration. A lot of questions are coming up about pre-launch. When will we hit pre-launch? When will we be able to make purchases of packages? I'm hoping you're starting to see the fact that the company's not rushing that, even though I can tell you, Aaron and Sherry, I can tell you, Boomy, I can tell you, Martha, that a lot of tickets have come in where people are saying, hey, I'm ready to make a purchase. The company's saying, wait, we want to make sure we do this one right. All right, we're not here for a quick fix. We're not here for a quick feel-good. We're not here for a great feel-good story for 12 months or 18 months. We want to do this right. Now, having said that, it's looking very good. Looks like manufacturing is on schedule, number one. Number two, do not be surprised if this week or the very first of next week that you start to see a debit card or two come in your back office. These are going to be very strong pay-in solutions. We're not going to say things like deposit. We're not going to say like funding. Those things have investment or banking connotations. We want to stay away from anything with investment or banking connotations. So it'll be a great pay-in solution. One of the debit cards, you'll be able to go to Western Union, I'm being told, even MoneyGram, even some of you Walmart and Walgreens, and get a money card to pay in to your debit card. It actually will have a back-end virtual checking account. And so you'll be able to transfer funds directly from your virtual account that you loaded up, maybe with MoneyGram, maybe with Western Union, so on and so forth. Perhaps with a money pack green dot card that you might get from a Walmart or what have you. You'll be able to load up your system, and then you'll be able to transfer funds from your system into the JubiRev, JubiMax system into your eCash, okay? So you'll probably see either late this week or sometime next week, you're probably going to see that coming aboard. When you see that, you know we're getting closer to the pre-launch. Additionally, in your back office, I should have had this up by now. I'm sorry. Give me a moment. In your back office, bear with me. I want everyone to make sure you log into your back office. Remember, your back office login is JubiMax, not JubiRev. All right? JubiMax, JubiMax.com/members. Give me a moment. Bear with me. So I want everyone, and get this to your teams, please. Please get this to your teams, all right, what I'm about to share. I think I got that right. Whoops. Bear with me. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I meant to have this up already, and we got timed out here. Bear with me. Okay, I tell you what, while we're doing this, open up your questions box. I feel like giving away some money. We're going to give away $500 tonight. Open up your questions box. You never know when we're going to ask a question, and whoever gets the answer right first is going to be a winner. We're going to give 5 folks compliments of the company. 5 folks, $100 a piece, so 500. All right, when you come, I want everyone to go into your back office. Make sure you check your enroller. So if Aaron and Cheryl sent you a link, if Boomy Moore sent you a link, who should you see? You should see either their name, maybe they have a corporate name, or what have you. If you see the name James Douglas, the company set up a system because they knew that when you're just getting started off, there's a bug here and there. And sometimes what happens is, if you sent a link, leaders, if you sent a link out and your link has been, you've tied it to a domain name, not a problem there, but if you are masking that domain name, that does appear to be causing a challenge, sending them to a default, okay? If you see James Douglas as your referrer, as your enroller, and you're saying, who's James Douglas? He's not I got my link from Aaron and Sharon. I got my link from Boomy Moore. I got my link from Daryl Keck. I got my link from whoever, okay? Then what I want you to do is send in a support ticket. Send in a support ticket. I believe support started today. It's only a small, very small, minute percentage of folks that are showing James Douglas. James Douglas is not a person that's building the business. Now, there might be a James Douglas out there, but this particular position is not building the business. It's not being promoted. So anyone who winds up with an enroller that says James Douglas, the company knows that person should not be there. Okay, so support began today, I believe it was, connecting with folks to make sure that, hey, if you were with James Douglas, that you got connected to the right person, the person that you should have been connected to. Don't wait on support on that. Just go on and give support a support ticket. What we are going to ask you to do is be as descriptive about who that referrer should be. So their name, if you happen to know their username, all right? So if you're in contact with Skype or Facebook or emails or what have you with your enroller, and you're saying James Douglas instead of your enroller, just ask your enroller, hey, what's your username also? So when you send a support ticket, they can search your enroller by name or email address or username or what have you. And then now, if you've begun to build a team, all right, James Douglas is showing up as your enroller, and you've got 17, 213, 47 folks that you've begun to grow a team. When they move you to your actual enroller, guess what? Everybody just moves with you. You won't have to do anything else, okay? All right, so make sure you get that done, please. Make sure you get that done. All right, we want to make sure that everybody's where they should be. Additionally, we've already started cutting some videos from a compensation training standpoint. The first video was sent over to the programming staff. I'm hoping that it may be up and running by tomorrow, that they get that loaded up hopefully sometime tonight. If you go over here to training, this is where you're going to find it. There should be a tab here, hopefully sometime tomorrow, that says compensation training. The first video that we cut, it's not a presentation video. It's a training video. It's designed to really give you the nuts and bolts of the compensation plan. There's 10 ways a company's going to pay. We're going to cut videos on every single way. One of those videos, the first video, will be on the revenue sharing model. Now, I know some of you are saying, but I already know how the revenue sharing model works. You want to watch that video, and you want your teammates to watch that video, because you're going to see some things. Aaron and Shara, they've begun to understand some things, which is why they're planting their flag. They're seeing, wait a minute, there's going to be a lot of revenue that's not just related to we, the promoters, making purchases. When you see that, when your folks see that, we believe an educated consumer consumes more, an educated promoter promotes more. Okay? All right, so with that being said, let's get into our training for this evening. Did I hit on everything? Oh, we got to give some money away. All right, let's give some money away. Let's give some money away. Open up your questions box. First person with the right answer. What is Jubi short for? What is Jubi short for? Stop. I've got a winner. Stop. I've got a winner. Fantastic, though. Wow. Oh, you guys have it. Fantastic. Got a winner. Let's see who won. Give us a moment. All right, bear with me. Bear with me. All right, and the winner, the first one, the winner is John McDonald. Congratulations, John McDonald. $100, my friend. John McDonald, what I want you to do, my friend, is to email. Now, this email is only for you claiming your $100 prize, okay? It's certainly not for support. Email webinar promotion at gmail.com. Congratulations, John McDonald. Congratulations, John McDonald. Winner one, John McDonald. Fantastic. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. By the way, John, what I want you to do when you email, preferably, we would prefer to have that just sent to you by, let's say, Charlotte Trust Pay or Payza. If you have either one of those set up, just let us know which one you would prefer to receive by, and then tell us what your username is with Silent Trust Pay or what your email address is with Payza. If you don't have either of those set up, then give us another method, whether that is, we prefer not PayPal, but if we have to do that, we'll get a PayPal to you, or if we've got to do something else, just tell us what needs to be done, okay? Congratulations. All right, let's go to work, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. All right, now, what we're going to talk about in this training side is we're going to talk about the JubiSuite. This is going to be a major, major, major part of our culture. And I dare say that outside of the revenue sharing compensation model itself, as it relates to the culture and the behavior that this system will create, this is second. If the revenue sharing model is number one, because that attracts so many folks that would in many cases normally not have even been a part of this type industry, all right, then the JubiSuite, I believe, is going to be a very close second. By the way, congratulations to Frank, over 400 personal referrals. That is incredible. That Aaron and Shara, you gonna let Frank kick you in the cootie like that, man? You gonna let him do that? All right, now, in order for us to really understand the JubiSuite, we need to understand a couple of things about the compensation plan so that you will really get the importance of this. Now, when the management team, along with their consultants, were designing the compensation plan, they not only wanted to pay attention to percentages, but they wanted to pay attention to behavior. And they studied companies, obviously, in the revenue sharing space, but they also studied companies that aren't necessarily in the revenue sharing space. One company in particular that is in the more traditional MLM space, they've got a weight loss product, and when they told me to go and study it, I pulled up their PDF, which, by the way, the PDF is in with the attorneys. They're doing the final look through. Not sure if we'll see the PDF popping up late this week or sometime next week, but that is in the final look through for verbiage and language and what have you. I looked at the PDF of this particular company, and I was unimpressed. There was nothing impressive about it. It had an 8-level unilevel, and it paid a certain percentage on each level. And I thought, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Excuse me, my mom's out there. She's going to get me for yawning in public. That's how boring I thought that compensation plan was. I thought it was really boring. But I was trying to figure out why I kept hearing about this company, why people were so pumped up about this company, why I was hearing this company was growing and bursting at the seams. I was hearing that there was one company in the revenue sharing world that really put revenue sharing on the map. The MySpace of revenue sharing, I believe, will be the Facebook of revenue sharing. The MySpace of revenue sharing, that company hit all types of records. But then I've been told that over the past few years in the traditional MLM space, that this company that had this type placement tool was hitting records in the traditional space. Again, when I look at the compensation plan, what's so exciting? Well, what we want to understand is that the culture of behavior trumps percentages. Show me a compensation plan where there are tremendous percentages being paid out, but the behavior is all wrong. There's an entitlement society created, a laziness society or culture created. Show me a company that has tremendous percentages, but folks are lazy and don't want to do much to build the business. And then I'm going to show you versus showing me a company where maybe the percentages aren't, maybe they're just as good, maybe not as good, but the behavior is everyone feels like I need to do my part. Let me do my part. And as a matter of fact, if you reward me, if you acknowledge me, because what we have found in this industry in 19 years is that some people will fight harder, work harder for recognition than they will the money. I can tell you right now, there is friendly competition, but competition nonetheless among those top 10 enrollers right now that's been showing out there. And then other people nipping on their heels. I can tell you right now, when I Skyped Aaron and Cheryl the other day and said, hey, man, I hear that you're number 4. Hey, I'm going to be number this, all right? And now he's in the number 2 spot. A buddy of mine, Coach Van, said, hey, where am I? Where am I? Well, Coach is like number 5 or what have you. He wants to be the number 1 dude. He wants to be the number 1 dude. See, a culture of behavior. We've seen folks in this industry earn 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year, go to the big company shindig and cry and bawl like a baby because they went across the stage and got a T-shirt. There's something about creating the culture, a culture where everyone says, I want to do my fair share. Okay, so now this is what the JubiSuite is all about, okay? The JubiSuite is where when you enroll, all right, when you enroll someone, they are initially placed in your JubiSuite. And you're going to have up to 60 days to determine if you want to place them in your organization, okay? Now, we need to back up a little bit so that you have a foundation so you can really understand how big and powerful this is. All right, now part of our compensation is going to be that should you enroll someone that becomes a promoter and they purchase inventory or purchase a product or what have you, none of us are rewarded, none of us get a commission simply by recruiting, all right? No headhunting. We're getting a commission because the person that you recruited, the person that I recruited, the person that Aaron and Sharon recruited, the person that Frank recruited, that person made a purchase of some kind, a transaction, okay? So when you enroll someone, you're going to earn up to 10% when they make not only their initial purchase, but essentially what would in effect, the company won't refer to it as this, as like a subsequent purchase. Now, let's just understand how this is going to work. Let's say that, by the way, this is going to be anyone that's on your first generation. Anyone that's your first generation means you are the enroller. Anyone who's your first generation means you are the enroller. There is no limit of folks that you can enroll. Anyone that you enroll is first generation. By the way, for my folks who are saying, but wait a minute, I already told you. I told my enroller I'm not good at recruiting or sponsoring or selling. That's why I was attracted to this model. That's fine. That's fine. You never, ever, 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 ever have to recruit or sponsor other promoters. However, we would be less than leaders if we didn't let you know that where the big money can come in and where you can grow your point totals even faster so you generate even more daily revenues is if you happen to build a referral network. We'll never make you feel like a first-class citizen if you don't. I promise you we'll never do that. But we do want to see, we want to see you jubi. We want to see you triumph. That's another word for jubilant. We want to see you triumph. Okay? All right, now anyone that you personally enroll is going to be your first generation. This relationship never, ever, ever changes. They're always your first generation. always your first generation. You refer Frank, my gosh, somebody referred Frank. He's referred 400 plus, on his way to 500. He's your first generation, always first generation. You referred Boomy, she's always your first generation, no matter where Frank may be placed. You refer my buddy Coach Van, always first generation. You refer my buddy Julio Cruz, always first generation. Okay? You referred them. Now, you're going to earn up to 10% when they make their purchases. So let's say Frank makes a $2,500 purchase. All right? You made $250, assuming you're at the 10% commission rate. All right. So you made $250. But what we really want you to get is what happens as Frank and Boomy and Coach Van and Julio, what happens when they begin to build those point totals? 10,000 points, 50,000 points, 100,000 points, so on and so forth. Okay, we've seen people grow to 1 million points in their point totals in this industry. Now, what's going to happen on a daily basis when we get to the point where we're getting our daily revenues? When we get to the point where we get our daily revenues, what's going to happen is you're going to get your daily reward. Let's say your daily reward was, let's say that Frank's daily reward was $100. You personally referred Frank. He's your first generation. His daily reward in my example is $100. Now, he's rewarded, you're rewarded, we're all rewarded in JubiBucks. We're all rewarded in JubiBucks. Now, Frank, Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, Aaron Shera, T. Lamont Silver Sr., Pauline, Martha, John, Susan, Karen, we all can have as much as 60% of our JubiBucks converted into commission dollars. Now, why did the company say you can convert 60% and not 100%? Here's why. Company's smart. They've studied this industry. They've studied revenue sharing. Because there was a regulator that looked at a company in this industry, many of you know that company, and one of the things they said is, well, what if everybody wanted to convert everything to commissions? There'd be a run on the system. So the brilliance of the management, who you'll soon meet, the brilliance of their consultants was, hey, let's make sure that doesn't happen by instituting that 60% there. So no one will be able to say, hey, I want 100% of my daily reward. And again, a lot of that goes towards answering that concern that some regulators had. So in this example, even if Frank decided for whatever reason that he wanted his 60% max to go into his pocket, he earned 100 JubiBucks. 60% went into his pocket, or $60. That means at least 40 JubiBucks remained in his JubiBucks balance. You're then going to get an override on whatever those JubiBucks happen to be. If he decided that he was going to be set to 0%, he's not going to have any of his rewards go to his cash for that day, his commission account for that day, then that means the entire 100 JubiBucks you're going to be commissioned on. You're going to get an override on 10% of that, whatever that happens to be. Now, I want you to see what just happened here. Hear me. My gosh, get this. I want you to see what just happened here. By the company instituting that 60%, which was in part to answer that regulatory concern, what it also just did is it made a forced residual daily income. If you enroll Frank has points. Frank is qualified for daily rewards that day. Frank has to, even if he takes out 60%, converts that into commissionable dollars, at least 40% had to stay in his JubiBucks balance, and you had to. You didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice. Nobody asked your permission. You didn't have a choice. You had to get an override. It had to happen. Even if he cashes out the max he can for that day. It has to happen. Some of you leaders, my gosh, you just got it. You just got it. Oh my gosh, some of you just got it, and you will be like me, and you will not be able to sleep for the next. I didn't sleep. I slept 9 hours in 9 hours in the 96-hour period. And part of that was because of our energy product, but some of that was because I know this kind of stuff. Okay. All right. Now, so I want you to understand just how powerful it is if you are overriding, whether you're overriding one person, 100 people, 1,000, or what have you. Okay. Now, understand that Frank, in this example, you enrolled Frank. He's always first generation to you. That will never change. You're going to earn up to 5% when someone is second generation to you. Now, what would the second generation person be to you? Well, if Frank then enrolls Betty Johansson, Frank enrolls Betty in my example. Frank enrolls Betty in my example. Well, Betty is first generation to Frank, second generation to you. Frank enrolled Betty. Frank enrolled Betty. Frank enrolled Betty. Betty is first generation to who? Frank. Betty is second generation to you. Now, some of you that are on the webinar, you understand comp plans, and you're saying, T. Lamont, will you hurry on? We've got to understand we've got a lot of folks that aren't at the same level that you are. Okay, so so when we come to these webinars, I'm an educator by that's what I do. Even though I got kicked out of college, I want to make sure that people walk away saying, "I got it, I got it," because an educated consumer consumes more, an educated promoter promotes more. All right, now Betty is always second generation to you, no matter where she is placed in your structure. You're always going to get that up to 5% when Betty makes a purchase and ongoing bucks go into her bucks balance. You're always going to get that up to 5% no matter where she is placed in your structure. Now, Betty, there was a company, ladies and gentlemen, where a lot of people, even on this webinar, did exceptionally well, and they paid 10%, up to 10%, and up to 5%, and that was it. And a lot of us were extremely happy with that. A lot of folks did exceptionally well, okay? JubiRev is going to go a step further. It's going to pay a third generation, 1%, a third generation, 1%, okay? All right, so who would be third generation to you in this scenario? Well, if Betty refers Amy. Betty refers Amy. Good day, Amy. Betty refers Amy. Amy is first generation to Betty, second generation to Frank, third generation to you. Amy is first generation to Betty, second generation to Frank, third generation to you. This genealogical or generational relationship never goes away, no matter where Amy is placed in your organization. This generational relationship never goes away, no matter where Amy is placed in your organization. 10, 5, and 1, 10, 5, and 1, 10, 5, and 1 generationally. That is said to be paid through 3 generations. 3 generations. Now, here's the caveat here. In many systems, if you say a generation, if you say a level, you're saying the same thing. They're synonymous in many systems. Not our system. There is a distinct difference between a generation. A generation relates to the enrollment tree. Who enrolled you? In this case, Betty enrolled Amy. So Amy is first generation to Betty. In this case, Frank enrolled Betty. So Betty is first generation to Frank, second generation to you. When we talk generations in the JubiRev, JubiMax a compensation plan, generationally speaking, that ties to who enrolled you, who enrolled them, who enrolled them. Who did you enroll? First generation to you. Who did they enroll? Second generation to you. Then who did they enroll? Third generation to you. One more example so we all get it. My mom, my dad. I am first generation to my mom and dad. I'm first generation to Pops and Ma, as we love to call them. All right? No matter where I live in the world, I will always be first generation to them. I will always be second generation to Carther and Lula Mae, who we called Honey Woodard, my grandparents on my mom's side. I will always be second generation to them, no matter where I live in the world. And then I will always be third generation to great-grandpa Will and great-grandma Emma. I will always be third generation to them, great-grandparents, no matter where I live in the world. Doesn't matter where Amy is placed in your structure. She's always third generation to you. No matter where Betty is placed in your structure, always second generation to you. No matter where Frank is placed in your structure, always first generation to you. Okay, here we go. Let's go to work here. So we understand the generations. We understand the generations. We understand the generations. Now what's going to happen is when you enroll someone, that person is going to be first generation to you, and for all intents and purposes will also be on your first level. When they are in your JubiSuite, they are on your first level. There's a difference between generation. The generation is the enrollment relationship. The levels is going to be will be where they are placed in your structure. There's going to be an 8-level unilevel structure, an 8-level unilevel structure, 8-level unilevel structure. Why a unilevel? Why not a matrix? Why a unilevel? Why not a binary? Okay, first off, why not a matrix? The reason the company did not go with a matrix is in the states, which if you can pass the regulatory test in the states, you can probably pass it in the U.S. You can probably pass it most anywhere. Okay, but in the United States, there are a few states that do not like matrices. It doesn't mean you can't have a matrix, but they just don't like them. That's number one. Number two, you'll be hard-pressed to find a company that has a matrix as a major compensation element that matrix lasts more than 5 years. Doesn't mean the company goes away. It means very often companies that have a matrix after 2, 3, 4 years, that matrix isn't doing what it originally did. Right now, if we said this is a matrix, it would create such a buzz, such a, man, I got to get in now because I want to get on Aaron's first level because he's going to go and he's going to personally enroll hundreds of folks, and I hope I get all this spiel. And so people have a first movers type of advantage. The problem with that is that it often creates an entitlement society. Frank, you got 400 personal enrollees. Frank, I want to join Frank. I want to be on his first level. I want to get all this spiel. And then if you don't get spiel, then you were wondering, well, Frank, why didn't I get any spiel? Frank, why didn't I get any spiel? Boomy, where's my spiel? It creates the wrong behavior. And so, again, it's about behavior, not just about the percentages. So you've got an issue with potential regulatory headwinds. Doesn't mean the company's going to be shut down, but some regulators just don't like it. Number two, you've got, more importantly to me, it creates the wrong behavior, this entitlement society, as opposed to everyone doing a little bit to help grow the team. Now, unilevels are accepted in this industry as a strong compensation system. And what unilevels do for the big business builders, the Franks of the world, the Tyrons, who I think is like number 2 or 3, and the Coach Vans and the Suzannes and the folks who are really good at recruiting. The great thing about a unilevel is it allows you to go wide, and width equals profitability. Typically, what happens is the company rewards the personal enroller. That person gets the biggest reward of enrolling someone and that someone doing some type of production. Okay? Width equals profitability. Width equals profitability. Wanting to go wide, wanting to personally recruit a lot, wanting to go wide. This is one of the reasons we're saying, hey, get your link out. Get your link out. It's not costing anybody anything. Get your link out. Get your link out. Today I got a call from a Joe Average. My buddy Alec, Joe Average called me, and he was so excited. He was so pumped up. Here's Joe Average, and guess what he's doing? He's getting his link out. Getting his link out because he's got no barriers to entry, because nobody's got to pay anything. And he knows those people get a chance to hear the message and maybe upgrade on their own. Okay. Depth equals stability. Width equals profitability. Depth equals stability. Now, what if you could have a system where one could go wide, profitability, and at the same time build depth, which promotes team building? And that is the one positive of a matrix. It does promote the potential of team building. All right? So how about we introduce this placement tool that we now have seen another company that doesn't have a revenue sharing model. That one tool has helped to take them to tremendous heights. What if we take that tool, bring it with revenue sharing, back it up with products that people will actually purchase day in and day out? Oh my gosh, we've got something special. So this is how this works. All right, so let's go back, and you have referred. You've got the Hall of Fame. You've referred. Who did we refer here? You referred Frank, Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, and let's say Suzanne. Let's put another young lady here. Okay, Frank, Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, Suzanne. Aaron and Shara. Still don't know his last name. Last name is Anshara. Okay. You've got an all-star cast here. All right. Now, this is what happens here. Frank, Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, Suzanne, Aaron, and Shara are always first generation to you in this example. Always first generation to you. When they first come into your business, they're going to be on your first level. They're going to be on your first level. They're still, though, in what we call a JubiSuite. You have up to 60 days to place them somewhere else in your organization. So this is what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to run contests. These contests are going to get folks wanting to produce more volume. Why? Because they want to win the contest. And with the contest, we have tremendous leverage. Imagine if you ran a contest and you said, Frank, Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, Suzanne, Aaron, and Shara. For the one of you, I'm going to start a contest starting today. No, I'm going to start a contest. It's retroactive back to last Thursday. And I'm going to run this contest until February the 14th. You throw out, it's your contest, okay? And whichever one of you has the most personal enrollees, I'm going to put a leg in your organization. Whichever one of you has the most personal enrollees, I'm going to put a leg in your organization. Now, will everyone that you've personally enrolled, will everyone go for it? Probably not. Will some go for it? Will some folks like Aaron and Shara say, where's Frank? What's his numbers now? Will some folks like my buddy Coach Van say, wait. Now, how far away am I from catching up? I'm going to catch up with Frank, but I gotta catch up with Aaron and Shara first. So how far am I away from Aaron and Shara? Let me tell you what one of our great leaders did. One of our great leaders went to his personally enrolled, about 100 or so personally enrolled. He said to his personally enrolled, I'm going to run a contest. He said, I'm going to bring a lot of folks to the table personally, but I'm only going to build through 10 legs. So if I've got a personally enrolled of 100 folks right now, I'm only going to build through 10 legs. That's it. All right. I'm going to build my entire business through those 10 legs. Some people might only build through 3 legs. Some might build through 6. This person said I'm going to build through 10 legs. Now, what does that mean? That means that the other 90 that they already have personally enrolled somehow are going to be linked to those original 10. Will that person lose the first generational relationship? No, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, that person reported to me that they got a Skype from one of their folks saying, hey, where am I in that top 10? I want to be one of those top 10 legs. Where am I? I personally have 64 personally enrolled. What number should I be targeting to be one of your top 10? That's the type of behavior. That person is not sitting back waiting on spill in a matrix. That person is not saying, well, I'm excited about, I'm just going to sit back and wait for my daily revenue sharing. And again, I'm not going to make anybody feel like a second-class citizen. If you are not here to recruit other promoters, then maybe this particular webinar is not quite for you. Come back to one of the other webinars where we talk more about the revenue sharing model. But I want you to make money, and I know the way that you can make money quicker and build your point totals faster is if you get the word out. Facebook your link. That's one of the reasons why the company is putting even videos on a YouTube channel so you can go and grab that. And I'm so proud of you when I go to YouTube and I see so many of you that have, you're already starting to share the word in a compliant way. Get your link out. Get your link out. So here we go. Here we go. So let's say you run the contest. Aaron and Cheryl, are you still with me? You still on the side, buddy? Okay, maybe. Okay, so Aaron and Cheryl, since you're on this side, you won the contest. You caught up with Frank. You beat him out, man. Congratulations. You beat him out. Look at the power of this. Look at the power of this. Now, you can now take Frank and you can say, okay, Aaron and Cheryl, because you won, I'm going to put Frank's leg in your unilevel. So now Frank winds up in Aaron and Shara's unilevel. Here, let's do this. So Aaron and Shara. Now they beget Frank. Okay? Now, who is the enroller here? It's still you. It's still you. All right? You're still the enroller of Aaron and Shara. You're still the enroller of Frank. You still get the 10% or up to 10% bonus here and daily, as they're building up their JubiBuck totals, okay? Now, what happens is the company's going to put 0.5% through 8 levels. Now, we'll have to qualify for all 8 levels. Many of you will qualify for the first 3 very early on, and then you'll qualify for like 5, and then eventually you'll qualify, some of you will qualify for all 8. But I want you to see what just happened here. You didn't lose anything because Frank is still your personally enrolled. You still get your 10% relationship, all right? Now what happens is you put Frank, or you placed Frank in Aaron and Shara's organization. Now, Aaron and Shara, this is important, okay? You don't see Aaron and Shara, you don't see Frank's contact information, not unless the person who placed Frank there tells you that information. This way we don't have cross-promoting, cross-recruiting types of things, all right? Very important there. What you do is you do pick up 0.5%, not just on Frank's point totals as he's building in terms of the overrides on his bucks that's going to his buck balance every night. What about his entire team? Because that in his entire organization, which now could be hundreds, which now could be thousands of folks, are now in Aaron and Shara's organization. How much did it hurt you? It didn't. You still get your 10% relationship. And oh, by the way, since you're qualified for that second level, that third level anyway, you also pick up another 0.5%. So now what you can do is you can run contests. You can say, okay, well, Aaron and Shara won that contest. I still have Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, and Suzanne. I'm going to run another contest. And maybe that contest is production-based. You know, the number of volume that moves through your organization. You know, in terms of total sales, so on and so forth. Maybe that is based on now that we go into pre-launch and people purchase packages. You know, the person who purchases the first package of this amount. I don't know. You get a chance to define what your rules are. You get to run your own contest, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you already. I was talking with a huge huge business builder, guy who has been in this industry and has made multiple six figures a month because of this revenue sharing model. And you want to know one of the reasons why he joined me? It's because I said, listen, buddy, I've got my JubiSuite, man. I got it packed. I got some great studettes. You come aboard, buddy, you come aboard, we're going to make sure we use that placement tool together. Matter of fact, I expect you to win one of these contests. When you win one of these contests, I expect you to win. You win one of these contests, and we'll do some contests with your folks. And so folks that maybe didn't win my initial contest, they're still in my suite, will be able to help run some contests with your folks because I can place them in your folks' organization because I don't lose anything. I still keep the generational relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, this JubiSuite is going to change everything. Where heretofore so many people in revenue sharing were content to sit back, place their ad, do their minimum so they get their daily rewards, and if a person does that, will we ever make them feel like a first-class citizen, a second-class citizen? No. We're going to love on them. We're going to love on them. We're going to love on them. Maybe they'll do something down the road. But this allows you, listen, you can even do this. What if you had Boomy, Coach Van, Julio, Suzanne? These are big-time business builders, right? But over here you've got Paul. And you've got Mary. Now, these are just fictitious names. I'm not calling anybody out on the webinar, okay? And you've got Peter, okay? And maybe you see Paul, Mary, and Peter as more of your Joe averages. They're, Coach Van, he can recruit like the wind. He can recruit with the best of them. But Paul and Mary and Peter aren't necessarily the big business builders. Maybe you already know that. Maybe they followed you from other enterprises, so on and so forth. Could you run a contest for Paul, Mary, and Peter? So now you can get their confidence up, and now maybe they do more than what they would have done without having that contest. I can tell you right now, when the company put out that top 10, I start getting Skypes from some of those top 10 saying, hey, who's that person? Who's that person that's number 4? Okay, I'm going to catch them. I'm going to catch them. And I had folks who were not in the top 10 saying, okay, all right, this is where I am now. I want to get in that top 10. By the way, there'll be full leaders bulletins. There'll be not only the personal enrollees, and time is going to deal with production, and time is not only going to deal with what you do personally. It's going to look at your personal through your first generation, your personal through your second generation. Zeke and Jerry Stewart, you're going to love that. Your personal through your third generation. We want to sponsor. We want to have the right culture. And here's the thing, if you are, as I start to round third, if you are Joe average and you're Sue average and you say, well, this was a great webinar, but, I'm still not a big business builder, what happens? You tell me, what happens when Aaron and Shara are on the leaderboard, but they're shooting for Frank? What happens when Frank wants to keep his number 1 position? What happens when Coach Van is nipping at the heels of Aaron and Shara? What happens when Julio says, hey, no, you're not going to leave me out? What happens when Suzanne says, wait a minute, I'm tired of hearing about all these dudes at the top of the leaderboard. There needs to be some dudettes up there at the top of the leaderboard. What happens with all of that additional energy and activity? Eventually, it's going to lead to more production. What does more production lead to? It leads to more revenues. What does more revenues lead to? It leads to more revenues sharing, a stronger company. And even if you're not the recruiter, it shows up in daily revenue. So, ladies and gentlemen, the JubiSuite, they've been testing and testing and testing. They did not want to release it until folks begin to understand the JubiSuite, because you've got one shot to move that particular person. You've got up to 60 days. You don't have to take all 60 days. They didn't want people to start moving in their organization not understanding about the JubiSuite. We may have the JubiSuite up and running as early as next week. I believe right now what you can see in your back office, I think you can see your personally enrolled. You can see their email addresses. You can see their phone numbers, so you can connect with your personally enrolled. Remember, also in your back office, you've got a messaging system So hopefully this doesn't kick me out. So if you go over to my account, I'm sorry, if you go to my Jubi team, excuse me. That did kick me out. Bear with me. And we're just about finished with this. We will open up for an optional Q&A. And I've got to give some money away. Don't put any questions in there just yet, please. Don't put any questions in there just yet. We've got to give money to 4 more folks. No questions, please. Okay. All right. So when you go to your Jubi team, and you click on there. Now, obviously, this is a training site that I use here. So I've got nobody listed in this training site, but all of your Jubi team would be right here, and you've got this messaging feature. Excuse me, where you can send a message to each of your folks. Maybe you want to send them a message to say, hey, come over to my blog or come over here to my lead capture page, so that I've got a list of all my personally sponsored, and I can send one email or hit me up on Skype or what have you. Great way to communicate with your team. But you can also let them know if you're having some type of contest. Now, under here, you've got the generations. Right now, I believe it's only showing your first generation. It's going to start probably sometime next week, starting to show second and third and fourth, and second, third generation, and then it's going to start to show your JubiSuite, and then you're going to be able to, if you have someone that you want to move in your organization, link to someone else, you maintain the enroller relationship, you'll be able to do that. Now, here's the one thing we want to make sure we do as we use this tool. We do not want to create, once again, an entitlement society. So really, who should be the recipient of a leg or multiple legs? Who should be the recipient? Somebody who's aiding to the cause, somebody who's helping to build the business. So I'm not going to go to a buddy of mine who, right now, all right, my brother, I love my brother. I absolutely love my brother, okay? He'll have a position in JubiRev. Is he going to build it? I don't know. Am I going to go to my brother and say, hey, man, I'm putting Aaron and Shara? No. You know what? Because he hadn't earned it. Hadn't earned it yet. Show me something. Show me something, because I don't want to create an entitlement society. Part of me wanting to have an Aaron and Shara linked to a Frank, or Frank linked to Shara, Aaron and Shara, is for me also to be able to leverage Frank's leadership or Aaron and Shara's leadership. Hey, Aaron, Frank just got placed in your organization, buddy, and I know you can't see his information, but I trust you, Aaron and Shara, and I trust Frank, and so I'm going to connect the two of you. Here, let's do a three-way real quickly. Let's introduce you guys, or let's do a Skype real quickly. Let's introduce you guys. So now Aaron and Shara, they have a financial interest in seeing Frank win. Last thing, I'll finish with this, just to show you how big this is. This is training. This is training, not a presentation. This is training, not a presentation. This is training, not a presentation. I know of a situation where someone grew a point total in an enterprise to 1.4 million points. This is training, not a presentation. This is training, not a presentation. All of my disclaimers, training, not a presentation. That person, through commissions and overrides, could generate 20 grand in a night. This is training, not a presentation. This is training, not a presentation. All right? They would purchase more inventory from that particular company. Normally, they would take about 80% of their daily commissions and revenue, and they would purchase about 80% more inventory from their profits to buy more inventory, to give away, to generate more points, to replace points that were going to retire, so on and so forth. All right, so that would generate about a $1,600 commission. Now, what would happen if Frank in time, now maybe Frank doesn't build to 1.4 million points, but maybe the combined efforts of Frank and his team build to 1.4 million points. And if, because Frank was placed in your unilevel, you got a 0.5%, You say, well, T. Lamont, 0.5%, that doesn't seem like a lot of money. I'm not impressed by 0.5%. Okay, all right. All right, you can send it to me. 0.5%. 0.5%. Excuse me, 16. Oh, that's 16,000. Excuse me. That's 16,000. That's 16,000. 0.5% there. And again, maybe Frank doesn't build to 1.4 million points, but maybe he collectively with his team build to 1.4 million points. Remember, you just won this contest. Frank was placed in your genealogy, not your genealogy, in your unilevel. You're overriding that 0.5%. Particularly as you qualify for 3 levels and then 5 levels and then 8 levels. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Look at this. Times 0.5%. $80 in a night in this example as an override. We saw that, ladies and gentlemen, only we didn't have this system. We didn't have that system right there. Now, I see this and I'm saying, you mean to tell me that person could have been placed because someone won a contest and that would have generated maybe, perhaps, all of my disclaimers, an extra $80 for a night? I can't promise this. Don't go and do spreadsheets on this. This is a training. This is not a presentation. This is a training, not a presentation. You mean to tell me the potential, maybe, perhaps, all of my disclaimers, that could have generated maybe, if, perhaps, coulda, all of my disclaimers, an extra $2,400 in overrides because someone won a contest? Ladies and gentlemen, talk about potent, absolutely potent, the JubiSuite. We will be cutting an additional training video that will go in your back office about the JubiSuite. It will not be designed for public eyes, so that we can talk about some numbers and things of that nature. It won't be something that you can post on YouTube or anything like that. It's for you and your folks to understand the power of the JubiSuite. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give away $400 more, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Okay, let's see. Open up your questions box. Tell me, when is the next Jubi presentation webinar? When is the next Jubi presentation webinar? See if you've been paying attention. When is the next Jubi presentation? Stop. Michael Fonte. Fantastic. Congratulations. He got it Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. And Michael, again, if you would send an email to webinarpromotion@gmail.com. Preference would be Solid Trust Pay or Payza, but if that doesn't work for you, let us know, and we'll get you $100. Congratulations, Michael Fonte. Congratulations, Michael Fonte. Open up that questions box if you would. Next question. $100 on the line. $100 on the line. That next webinar, by the way, is Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12 noon, we have a presentation webinar. Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m., we have a presentation webinar. Now, as more and more leaders come aboard and the PowerPoint gets more standardized, then obviously there'll be more leaders that will come and they'll do presentations as well, and so we'll probably wind up expanding that. Of course, there's going to be a good number of leaders that do their own conference calls, their own webinars, so on and so forth. As long as you're doing it compliantly, have at it, my friends. As long as you're doing it compliantly, have at it. Okay, so that's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 noon. Eastern, by the way. That's when we have our corporate presentation webinars, and Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay? All right. Someone tell me, what is the presentation webinar link? It doesn't change. What is the presentation webinar link? What is the presentation webinar link? Stop. If you would. Julio, you almost had it, buddy. Not quite. I apologize, buddy. All right, Matt McCormick. Hey, ladies, I need some dudettes winning here. Matt McCormick, congratulations. JubiRevWebinar.com. That does not change. JubiRevWebinar.com. Presentation webinars. JubiRev Webinar. I can't spell here. Webinar.com. All right. Mr. McCormick, if you would do the same, Matt, if you would do the same, buddy, send that to webinarpromotion@gmail.com. Give me just a moment. I need to make my notes. Matt McCormick. Who was my winner before that? Bear with me. Michael Fonte. Michael, I hope I said your last name right, buddy. Okay, all right. So we've got 2 more winners. Come on, dudettes. Come on, ladies. I'm pulling for you. Ladies. Let's see here. From what all we know, what is Aaron's last name? As I know it. Stop. Oh, let's see who got this. Kim McDaniel. Aaron's last name, as far as I know, is Anshera. By the way, if you are like a really corporate person and, you do the suit and tie and all that good stuff, take all that stuff off when you come to these webinars, okay? Take off. We're going to give you great substance. We're going to have a little fun, all right? Because this is a fun business. So congratulations to Kim McDaniel. Congratulations. All right, Matt McCormick, Michael Fonte, Kim McDaniel, along with, who was our first winner? Forgive me for, I make my notes up here somewhere. I'll find out my notes somewhere up here. John McDonald. Let's put all of you good folks together. All right, we've got one more, and then we'll open it up for a few questions and answers. Okay, all right, let's see here. How many days do you have to place someone in your organization, in your unilevel? How many days? Stop. Let's see who won. You guys are amazing. Fantastic. Thank you for your attentiveness. Got another dude. Herbert Williams. Congratulations, my friend. And by now you should know what to do, my friend. Herbert Williams. Congratulations. John McDonald, Matt McCormick, Michael Fonte, Kim McDaniel, and Herbert Williams. If you would all send an email to webinarpromotion@gmail.com. Webinarpromotion@gmail.com. Our preferences in sending that to you, but let us know what works for you. Webinarpromotion@gmail.com. Okay, go on and put your questions in, ladies and gentlemen. If you've already put questions in before, I need you to do it again because we had so many responses. It's going to be tough to get to those. We're going to take 15 minutes here. This is the meeting after the meeting. For those of you that have been in more of the traditional MLM type business over the years, maybe you're not doing that now, but you've done that in the past. If you went to the dog and pony shows offline, we used to love those dog and pony shows. After the meeting, we'd have a meeting after the meeting, and leaders would say the meeting after the meeting was more important than the actual meeting. All right, so this is the meeting after the meeting. We're all at IHOP or we're all at Waffle House late night. So this is where we're going to answer as many questions as we possibly can in about 15 minutes. Here we go. Someone said, why can't we use a debit card associated with our banking accounts to use for the purchases? All right, Jamie, the reason that is because the debit cards that we'll start to see, we're going to see one, maybe two in the next week or so. They have a virtual banking account, and that virtual banking account is going to also be tied to the company's virtual banking account. So the ease of moving those funds from your virtual account into the company's account for purposes of getting into your eCash is much, much simpler. That also is going to cut down a lot on the manual processing. Manual processing in the revenue sharing space, it draws a lot of folks. And when people are sending in things like cashier's checks or they're using Solid Trust Pay or Payza, unless those are integrated, okay, those processes are so manual intensive that they cause delays. They can easily cause manual problems, human error and what have you, and then folks get upset because they don't see their purchases showing up, so on and so forth. Also, that they're going to be a payout solution as well. So when you're ready for commissions, you're going to be able to get commissions paid out to your debit card, which will be far, far, far less fee intensive than what some of us have endured in terms of receiving from certain payment processors. Because a lot of times those payment processors, you might be getting eaten up 1.5%, 2.5% receiving funds. Okay? All right? What will the minimum purchase be to get started? Is it Helga? I hope I'm saying that right. There's going to be 4 monthly subscriptions, $15 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, and $200 a month. That's your monthly subscriptions. And in a video that we cut that talks about the revenue sharing model that will go up hopefully late tonight, maybe by the time many of you are up getting your day started, hopefully it'll be in your back office. It talks about why you want to consider, a $200 a month subscription above 100, or 100 above a 50, or 50 above a 15, though we're never going to make anyone feel like a second-class citizen. Now, Helga, you may also be talking about the actual package when you're getting started and you're wanting to buy inventory. I don't know what that smallest package is going to be, but it's going to be small enough where most people can get started with that. And it's going to have some nice little doodads in there. I know there's going to be a certain amount of JubiBucks with each package, but we're probably in the $100 to $150 US dollar range, probably in that range for those initial packages minimum. Now your maximum package, and I did check with management today just to confirm, $2,500 will be your maximum package amount. Now, those of you are saying, but wow, I want to be able to purchase more than $2,500. Now, remember, raise your right hand and agree that you're never going to hurt your family. Purchase as much as your resources allow, but you're never going to hurt your family. Here's the difference here, is you can pay in to your eCash. Notice my verbiage. I didn't say deposit. I didn't say fund. Those are all banking and investment type terms. You can pay into your eCash far more than $2,500. You can pay into your eCash $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, whatever. Just make sure you don't hurt your family. However, once it gets to your eCash, which is basically your internal system, all right, you can only purchase one $2,500 package at a time. Give away at least 70% of the contents of that, because the U.S. laws mandate that if you're purchasing inventory like that, you've got to either sell or consume or use 70% before you buy another package. Attorneys were not comfortable with a $10,000 purchase out of the gate. You can pay in $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. Don't you do that. If that's going to hurt your family, don't you go borrow money and do that, okay? So the max is going to be $2,500 per package. If you did pay in more than $2,500, then as soon as you give away the contents of one package, or at least 70%, then the system will allow you to purchase another package and do that again, and another package, so on and so forth, okay? Great question. Ed, let me ask you, Ed J, last name J, starts with a J. Um, where did you register? I'm assuming that you're talking about you've already gotten registered with JubiRev. If that's the case, in your back office, buddy, in your back office, you're going to see their contact information. Now, if you're seeing James Douglas, then we know that that's not correct, or it shouldn't be correct. Something happened, in which case I want you to go and issue a support ticket. And one of the things that we will endeavor to do with the leadership team, and it's going to be a lot of great leaders that's going to be a part of the leadership team. You're going to hear a lot more voices than mine. But one of the things we're going to endeavor to do from a leadership perspective is we understand that with the revenue sharing model, we all are on the same team. Maybe you did not refer Frank or Aaron and Shara, but as Aaron and Shara build their business, as Frank builds his business, as Julio builds his business, as Tyron builds his business, as Coach Van builds his business, as Dan builds his business, so on and so forth, Boomy, Zeke and Jerry, every commissionable transaction finds its way into the daily revenue pool, and we get a little piece of every single transaction. So what we will endeavor to do, Ed, is no matter who your referrer is, no matter who your enroller is, your sponsor is, there will be enough content coming from corporate in the form of presentations, in the form of training. Now, obviously, a lot of great leaders out there have their own training systems. They have their own way of doing things. They've got their own style. Their followings are used to their style. You do what you do, okay? From a corporate standpoint, the company wants to make sure that people never feel orphaned. If someone was referred by someone and that person who referred them, maybe they're doing the minimum to qualify for the daily rewards, but they're not actively engaged. Okay, well, in time, what's even going to happen is when you go back here to your Jubi team, all right, right now, you can message your personally enrolled and you can message your enroller. In times when you start to learn some of the ranks and what have you, in time, you'll be able to message ranks that are above you. So maybe your personal enroller is not as active. All right, not responding, not building, okay? So you'll be able to see who their upline, I think presidential diamond, I think is the top of the heap, their upline presidential diamond. So you can message that person and say, hey, I really need some help because my personal enroller, I love them, they're great people, but they're not really as focused right now, I need some assistance. Whether or not you connect with them, from a corporate standpoint, we want to make sure you have everything you need in the form of training, in the form of presentations, to not have any excuses to build your business. Thank you, sir, for your question. Are we supposed to be, thank you, Ben, for the question, are we supposed to be placing and submitting ads right now? No, you've got no inventory, so you've got no nothing to give away to generate points. And since you're not generating points right now, there is no requirement for you to start placing ads. However, what I will say is go on and start. You're not getting any points for it. You're not getting any daily revenue. Obviously, the company's not asked for a dime, so there's no daily revenue right now. But if you go to marketing, for instance, and you go under daily ad placement, by the way, on your home page, make sure you know your promoter links. All right, that's right here. This will show you your particular link to get to everyone. But if you come over here, Ben, to daily ad placement, buddy, and sample approved daily ads. All right, now, there's ads in here that are going to deal with giving away a weight loss sample. These links are not really live yet, okay? But what I want you to pay attention to is there are videos here. These are company-sanctioned videos. Many of you have already seen them, all right? But the company has put these back here so that if you have a blog, for instance, or you've got a lead capture page, and you don't want people going to a YouTube video where they may wind up, coming off of your information to go search around YouTube, you can download or embed these videos. There'll be other videos that'll be popping up back here. There are also banner ads. By the way, support is aware. Thank you. Some of you sent in some things. You're doing some traffic exchange type of marketing, and you are having some challenges with frame breaking something or another. I don't know all that verbiage. I'm almost sure that has already been resolved from the programming team. Okay, so you can go on, Ben, if you want to go on and start putting out banner ads. Some of you have memberships to companies where you can place banner ads and things of that nature. Have at it. Have at it. So, but you're not required to place ads just yet. We've got 5 more minutes. Someone is asking, one of our winners, congratulations, John McDonald, what are the requirements for each level? I guess you're talking, John, to be able to earn on level 2 or 3 or 8 or what have you. Will it be the number of people enrolled or point totals? John, I'm still waiting for the attorneys to get back to management, for management to get the document to us so that we can train on it. I've seen some preliminary figures, but I don't want to share what those preliminary figures are because they may be modified either upwards or downwards. That I don't know. But it's basically what John is asking is to be able to be qualified for all 8 levels, as an example. What are the qualifiers, or what are the requirements? We will do, once we have all those requirements, we would do a separate video that we will place back here in your training that will cover all requirements, all qualifiers for everything. Okay, so hopefully tomorrow you see the compensation on the revenue sharing, but we don't cover all the requirements or qualifications because some of those things are still in with the attorney and may have to be tweaked. So once the attorneys and consultants have gotten that back to management, they've gotten that to us to cut the training video, then we'll do a video just on those requirements. I can tell you it's going to in large part be due to monthly volume. Now, whether that is a customer purchasing something and that being some business volume, or whether that is a network of affiliates that have a monthly subscription, that's all volume, or any combination of those types of things. So it's going to be largely centered around volume in your 8 levels, which is another thing we did not discuss, is that when you placed Frank in Aaron and Shara's unilevel, then you get all that volume, okay, because they're still in your let's assume they're still in your 8 levels. You get all that volume, but also that means that Aaron and Shara, they get the volume that Frank and his leg produce to help them qualify for their next ranks, which one of those ranks includes you getting the Jubi style bonus, which is where you get your choice of a Porsche or Mercedes or a BMW. We've got time for one more question. What does Jubi stand for? Jubi, Candace, is short for jubilant. I would have you to do what management had me to do. I said, Jubi? Jubi. Really? Jubi? They said, go check out Jubilant. And when I went and checked out Jubilant and what it meant definition-wise and then thesaurus-wise and what have you, triumphant, JubiRev. We want our teammates to be triumphant, thrilling, exciting, ecstatic, exuberant. We want our customers to be thrilled with the product, to be thrilled with the shopping experience, to be excited, ecstatic about the product and service, the value that we got them. So that's where the word Jubi comes from. Someone is asking, Ben, this is specifically for you, but I'll make this question more general. Someone is asking, will we promoters be able to use third-party systems for either ad placement, ad posting, or for customer gathering, for customer registrations? On a corporate webinar, I will be prohibited, and any other leaders will be prohibited in a corporate setting of recommending any particular anything. The company cannot endorse any specific third-party source for anything. Check with your leader, your enroller, whoever that you're kind of following their lead, and chances are they'll have someone. Maybe they've already got a team in place ready to do some ad posting or some customers. So, Ben, the answer to your specific question is yes. All right. I don't want to ask your question because it would be promoting any particular company. But the answer to your question is yes. Okay. All right. Last one. Foy, are the package prices established? This is our last question for this evening. Foy, I don't know what all of the packages are. So I'm not sure. They may be established, but I'm not aware of what they are. But I'm sure that we'll become aware very soon because we've got some videos to cut in terms of the compensation plan, as well as we're getting very, very, very closer to pre-launch. The biggest thing the company wants to see is they want to see manufacturing essentially about ready to ship. All right. And when you see the debit cards come up, that should be a sign to you we're getting close. We're getting close. There was a discussion with manufacturing. They gave a date of when they think that they will be ready to ship. But I'm of the opinion that I don't like to share dates like that. And then if you miss it by 2 days or 3 days, all of a sudden you just overpromise and underdelivered. I'll just say that when you see a debit card or debit cards show up in your back office, you know that time is getting close to where pre-launch starts, where we can actually make purchases. And then there'll be a few weeks of pre-launch and making sure that all that went smoothly. Commissions will be paid out during that time. And then we'll get into what we're really all after is the daily revenue. You guys have been spectacular. Spectacular. We are just so fortunate to have such great Jubi family members from all across the globe. Our next webinar is going to be on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Congratulations to John McDonald, Matt McCormick, Michael Fonte, Kim McDaniel, a lot of Macs in there, and Herbert Williams for winning $100 apiece. Please send webinar promotion at gmail.com. The best way to get that to you, and that will get to you within the next 24. Well, if it's a payment process in the next 24 hours. If it's not, then you will be responded to as to the way that's going to get to you. Thank you, Aaron and Shara. Thank you, Boomy Moore. Next week, there'll be some other great leaders. A very dear buddy of mine that's going to be, and he's one of the top personal enrollers as well. We love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. And remember, with JubiRev, JubiMax is not just a company. It's a movement. Good night, everyone.